Hello and welcome to a video in which I will demonstrate setting up the Pro Tools I/O and the Pro Tools mix window for immersive mixing in 7.1.4. This is for Hybrid Mix Techniques course here at NESCOM, and in this particular assignment you will be mixing 7.1.4 discrete. It's sort of a precursor to Atmos. You will not be using the Atmos render in this situation. We're doing all of your work within Pro Tools. This video assumes you've already watched the previous video to set up monitoring to make sure you have the control room ready to go, all patches, all controls set on the S6 console, so you'll be able to hear in 7.1.4. This video just sets up the I/O and internal layback. With all that said, let's dive in. Basically, got to go into the I/O, set up I/O. And first thing you're going to do, as I suggest you do whenever you're setting up a Pro Tools mix from the very beginning, and that's delete all of your tabs of your I/O and start fresh with the interface configuration you currently have. So I would select all here, click on one of these inputs. Notice I'm on the input tab here. I'm going to select all, which is Command A, and I'm going to delete all those. It's going to warn me these are being used. That's okay. That's fine. When I get to the outputs, another way to do this is just Option click on one of these. That will also select all. And of course, you can hit Default delete path or hit the delete key, which is what I'm doing because it goes faster. Again, it's warning me this stuff's being used, and that's okay. Get to the buses, do the same thing, delete all your buses, and it continues to warn me, and that's all right. Make sure Dolby Atmos is off. This is not an Atmos mix, and it really doesn't matter what you do with your inserts and preamps for this particular project. Once I've gone from left to right and I've deleted everything, I'm going to go back and set it all up fresh. So I'm going to hit default here. This is going to make a bunch of inputs, which I won't use for this assignment, but they see the interface I'm currently attached to. For outputs, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. We want to set it up for 7.1.4, not stereo, not 5.1, not 7.1.2, 7.1.4. And make sure your path order here is Dolby. That aligns up with the path order we have in NESCOM Control-C and the way the speakers are configured. So once I've done that, hit default. You'll see that it makes a 7.1.4 wide monitor output called main. That uses up the first 12 outputs of the interface. And then you can see there's some other outputs available, which we won't use. We get to buses. It's already created the necessary bus to the monitor path. Let's hit default here and make some other stereo, and there are some mono ones buried in there you can use for reverbs and that sort of stuff. And then again, we're not using Atmos, so we're basically done. What I would do is create, and you need to do this, create at least two more new path, two more 7.1.4 paths. Okay, we don't need to auto-create subpaths in this configuration. We're going to say create, and they're named 25 and 26, and you can see they're 7.1.4 wide. What we're going to use, we're going to use one of these for our print bus, to print to our print track. And we're going to use the second one here to be our mix bus to get to the mix bus master, where you will have limiting on it. And so those are both 7.1.4 wide. Before we exit the I/O, this is really important. Same thing you had to do in previous assignments. And really, whenever you're using internal layback, it's very important you do this. Set your default output bus down here. So anything mono you create, any aux inputs, folder tracks, new tracks, or whatever, they automatically feed the mix bus. So you don't have to remember to patch those, and if you forget, have a really bad situation where you can't hear things or they don't get printed. Anything stereo you create, of course, should also go to the mix bus. And just in case you make any 7.1.4 submixes of anything, 7.1.4, they should also go to the mix bus. So everything's going to default to the mix bus. And I hit OK here. And just to verify that, if I were to create an aux input, Command-Shift-N right now, and say mono aux input, you'll see it automatically goes to the mix bus. So this is really important to set that up. Okay, we've gotten through the first big step of the video. The second step is to set up for internal layback. This is pretty simple. I'm going to create, Command-Shift-N, hello, do I have that again? 7.1.4 audio track. This is going to be our print track. This is what you will, in the end, print your final mix to. So we can create it there, and you can see it's 7.1.4 wide. And it's going to, I would solo safe this, hold command down, and hit safe. That solo isolates it, so whenever you solo something else, you don't have to solo over here. Eventually, you are going to want this in input, so you can hear it, but it won't let you do an input until you source it, and you want it to source from the print bus. At this point, now that I've got an input there, I can put it in an input. And the next thing here is I'm going to make a 7.1.4. That's a lot of tabs over there. 7.1.4, almost there. Aux input, and this aux input is going to be our master fader. You can call it whatever you want, master fader, whatever. That was kind of dumb. I have a little backward slash there. I'm going to clear that out. Now this guy is very important. It needs to feed the print track, so take its output and send it to the print track. Notice it is already solo safe, so we don't have to do that. And its input should be the mix bus. So in a moment, we will set all these tracks up in another video through a post-production routing scheme. That's funny. Post-production routing scheme, and I'll do that in the next video, but all of those will feed the master fader, which will feed the print track. Okay, hope this video helps out. Watch the next video if you want the rest of the setup. Have a good day. Bye-bye.